Omul din imagine este Russel Williams, comandant la cea mai mare bază aeriană din Canada și un pilot de top. Acesta este chemat la secția de poliție într-o zi de duminică, iar 10 ore mai târziu iese din acea cameră încătușat și înregistrat ca plătător sexual. Haideți să vedem ce s-a întâmplat în acele 10 ore. Aceasta este vizita la poliție de duminică seara. Atenție, urmează imagini care te-ar putea șoca. Dacă te știi o persoană sensibilă, nu ți-aș recomanda să vezi acest clip.
I'm sure you've seen it on TV a whole bunch of times, but that's usually the American version. Okay. I'll go over with you briefly. Basically in Canada, as you know, I'm sure, is we all have our rights guaranteed under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Right. Okay. Now, Russell, just to avoid any confusion, because people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today. Anytime you feel you want to leave here, you feel free to do so. The door's not locked. Teresa will walk you down the lobby anytime you want. Okay. If there's anything that comes up in our interview today, Russell, that you feel you want to talk to a lawyer about, you just let me know. Okay. Sure. And the reason for that is I want to explain to you exactly what's going on here. Jessica Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating. Right. And essentially what's happened is over the past about 4 or 5 months, there have been 4 occurrences, I said, that we're looking into. 2 of those occurrences occurred in September of 2009. And very briefly, they were up in the Tweed area. They involved somebody entering 2 different women's houses in the evening hours and committing sexual acts. Okay. In November of 2009, a young lady by the name of Marie-France Como was found murdered in her home in Brighton. And we believe that there was a sexual component to that crime as well. Okay. And then most recently we have Jessica Lloyd's disappearance. Essentially, when you're looking at those kind of crimes, we're looking at a number of different potential criminal charges. All right. We're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, break and enter with intent to commit sexual assault, forcible confinement. And essentially, Russell, in a nutshell, that's what we wanted to talk to you about. Okay.
Ok. Haideți să adăugăm puțin context acestei povești. Jessica Lloyd, în vârstă de 27 de ani, s-a întors acasă după o cină, iar după spusele fratelui ei, după ce a ajuns acasă, a trimis un mesaj de noapte bună unui prieten, după care s-a culcat, pentru că a doua zi trebuia să se ducă la muncă. A doua zi, în același timp, poliția mai investiga încă 3 cazuri, un omor și 2 agresiuni sexuale, iar având în vedere că toate avuseseră loc în același cartier, polițiștii s-au gândit că au de-a face cu un singur criminal. În timp ce poliția făcea verificări în jurul casei Jessicăi, colonelul Russell a fost oprit pentru un control, iar polițiștii au văzut modelul de anvelope de pe mașina acestuia. L-au lăsat să plece, dar a fost pus sub urmărire din acea clipă. Revenim la camera de interogare, acolo unde totul este calculat, de la poziția scaunelor până la tonul polițistului.
Those 4 cases are of concern to us, and you know, you've kind of almost hit the nail on the head about some of our issues that kind of make us want to talk to Russel Williams. Okay, because essentially there's a connection between you and all 4 of those cases. Would you agree? Geographically,
and then I guess I drive past. Yes, I would have to say there's a connection.
Yeah, and that's why. I'll be quite frank with you. That's why things kind of evolved when the officers talked to you on Thursday night. Okay. We kind of went from there because when I think you discussed with them the fact that you were a colonel at the base.
I was in uniform at the time, so.
Yeah, so pretty obvious, right? Yeah. So essentially, then the connection with Miss Como was made, and I believe you're a door or 2 down from one of those 2 incidents in Tweed.
3 doors down, yeah. Very close, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the issues we wanted to discuss with you. Yeah. Okay. So if we were to you know, do a similar investigation in your background, is there anything you can think of that anybody may have misinterpreted, or anything in your history that somebody might say Russel Williams
absolutely
did this?
No.
Okay.
Be very boring.
What's that?
It'll be very boring.
All right, because essentially that's what I'm looking at. Is that You seem like a very intelligent person, and I think you can see how a surprise like that would certainly set off some alarm bells in our investigation, right? Okay. So the next thing we need to cover off is, well, I'll just ask you this straight out. Given the types of crimes we're investigating, do you get much chance to watch television shows, CSI, things like that?
I do watch, I prefer Law and Order, but I do watch CSI occasionally, yes.
Okay. So you have an idea of, obviously, the forensic capabilities, things like that are out there. What would you be willing to give me today to help me move past you in this investigation?
What do you need?
Well, would you be willing to supply things like fingerprints, blood samples,
Sure.
things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Footwear impressions?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Russel acceptă să le ofere polițiștilor probe precum sânge, amprente, etc. Asta e bine. Bine pentru poliție.
I think that's what we're gonna ask you to do.
Okay.
All right. Now we have a process we have to go through to do that.
Okay.
And for the blood sample, I don't take the blood sample. We have specially trained officers that are trained to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to step out and make sure they're still.
Imaginați-vă asta. Sunteți polițist și investigați un caz de omor. Un alt caz despre dispariția unei persoane apare și unul din oamenii pe care îi opriți pentru control, nu numai că are la mașină modelul anvelopelor pe care le căutați, dar este și îmbrăcat în uniformă. Aceeași uniformă pe care persoana din cazul de omor o purta.
Can I assume you're going to be discreet?
It's possible. Yeah.
Because, this would have a very significant impact on the base if they thought you thought I did this.
Well, bottom line, Russell, that's one of the reasons we're here on a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
Russel vrea să se asigure că își menține reputația intactă și că nimeni de la baza militară nu va afla că a fost măcar suspect într-o investigație. Într-o sclipire de moment, polițistul i-a spus că tocmai ăsta este motivul pentru care se află la secție într-o zi de duminică. După această afirmație, Russel s-a liniștit, crezând că poliția nu are dovezi substanțiale împotriva sa.
The military certainly be of great assistance to us, especially in relation to Miss Como's investigation. So that's certainly one of the things that went into our decision to give you a call at home today and see if we could deal with this today.
Okay.
După ce colonelului îi se prelevează probe, acesta spune că nu a cunoscut personal niciuna din victime, în afară de colega lui de la baza militară. Odată cu probele, polițistul schimbă tactica și pune o întrebare directă.
What kind of tires do you have on your Pathfinder?
I think they're Toyo.
Okay. Do you know the brand name, or sorry,
I
the
think that
make?
is I don't. Sorry, the make is Toyo.
Yeah.
I don't know the model.
Okay. Just see, I'll read this off to you, see if it rings a bell. Ever heard of, does Toyo Open Country HTS
That sounds
make any
right.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you have those tires put on your Pathfinder?
Well, it's the second version we've had of them, so I think it might have been this past fall. They replaced other ones we'd had on the same.
Okay.
Well, Toyo, I can't say that they were exactly the same model, but our dealership here in Ottawa says they're very popular for the Pathfinders. So.
Okay.
And they were good. They lasted a long time.
All right.
Russel probabil se gândește și ce. Mulți oameni au modelul ăsta de anvelope.
Do you remember being at the base on the Monday, the 23rd, and swiping your card in and out? Do you remember what you would have done that evening to get to Ottawa for that meeting? Like, would it be...
I drove to Ottawa in the morning of the day of my meeting, so if it was the Tuesday, then I would have left Tweed. It was a very foggy morning.
Okay.
That morning. And I drove in that morning.
Okay.
So I would not have been at the base the day I was in Ottawa, because the meeting started at 8:30 or something.
Okay, so you leave the base, you would have went home to your residence in Tweed,
Yep.
and then you left Tweed in the morning and drove up to your meeting in Ottawa.
Yep.
Okay. You leave the meeting in Ottawa is a daytime meeting, evening meeting, or Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a daytime meeting, finished, I don't know, mid-afternoon or so.
Okay.
We had lunch and then finished. I think my wife and I had dinner because she was here for work, and then I headed back.
Okay. Well, these are the kind of things I'm trying to draw out here. That's helpful to us. Do you remember where you had dinner?
Well, I don't remember exactly the restaurant, but it was in Westboro because that's where our house was being built at the time. So we had dinner, you know, in a restaurant that we would expect to be able to frequent once the house was finished.
Okay. Remember how you paid?
One of us would have paid by MasterCard. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure about that, or?
Pretty sure. That's normally how we
Okay.
we pay for meals.
All right.
Can't remember if it was me or my wife that paid, but one of us.
Okay. And do you remember which restaurant it was again?
No.
Okay. All right. And you see where I'm getting at, right? I mean, that can be very helpful for us because if we can track that issue, right? We can put somebody paying for a meal at a location.
Well, I was meeting with 15 people or so that day. So.
Okay. And what time did the meeting end?
I would say between 3 and 4.
Okay. And are you sure that that's the same day you went out with your wife?
Well, I think so. Yeah, because she was here, and I think that was the day we went to this restaurant in Westboro, yes.
Okay. You finished dinner, and do you remember what you did that evening?
I would have driven back to Tweed.
Okay. And you would have... Now, again, I know we're talking 2 months ago here, but do you remember specifically having dinner and then driving back to Tweed, or do you remember... are you just guessing here?
No, not really guessing. I mean, I believe that this night at this restaurant was following the meetings in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And I, kissed my wife goodbye and headed back to Tweed to go to work the next day.
Okay. All right. The tires that you have on your truck, right? The reason I asked you about that is there any time, I mean, you recall where you were stopped by the officers there?
Yes.
Okay. Did they explain to you what the significance of that
was her house.
That was her house.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember that location?
Yep.
Do you remember what the crossroad was, or?
I don't think there was a crossroad. It's sort of just on the south end of 37.
Okay. When you get stopped at that location, has there been a time in the recent 1 or 2 weeks that your vehicle has left that road for any reason whatsoever? Have you driven into a field with your vehicle at all? For any reason you can think of?
No.
Atunci când polițiștii interoghează un suspect, pe lângă mărturisirea pe care încearcă să o obțină, aceștia se străduiesc să afle cât mai multe detalii din ziua faptei pentru a le folosi mai târziu în instanță. În cazul de față, polițistul îl tratează cu respect și îi prezintă clar faptele. Să nu uităm că Russel este colonel în armată, învățat să nu ia decizii pe baza emoțiilor, așa că nici el nu se lasă ușor.
Okay. Because I want you to rack your brain here. This is important. So, is there anything you can remember doing that would have caused you to drive off the road at that section of roadway?
No, that's that's the early part of the highway, and just head north. It's about 30 minutes from there to, probably 20 from there to my house.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that when the CSI officers were looking around her property, that they identified a set of tire tracks to the north of her property? Looks as if the vehicle left the road and drove along the north tree line of Jessica Lloyd's property. Okay. They took, they examined those tire tracks. And they have contacts in the tire business. Obviously, tire tracks are a major source of evidence for us.
Sure.
Shortly after this investigation started, they identified those tires as the same tires on your Pathfinder.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
După ce polițistul i-a spus de urma de la anvelope, acesta părăsește camera pentru câteva minute pentru a-l lăsa pe Russel să înțeleagă că nu a fost chemat doar pentru câteva întrebări de rutină. După ce se consultă cu colegii săi, atunci când intră în cameră, acesta vine cu atitudine schimbată.
I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same for me. We talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you here, trying to be as discreet as possible. But the problem is, Russell, is every time I walk out of this room, there's another issue that comes up, okay? And it's not issues that point away from you, it's issues that point at you, okay? And I want you to see what I mean. All right. This is the footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January, okay? All right? Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is slightly smaller, okay, in scale, okay?
Okay.
All right, that's not to scale. That's the footwear is actually bigger.
Okay.
If you look here on the ruler, you'll see that 1 inch is just slightly smaller than an actual inch, okay? But this is the way it prints off on the computer.
Yeah.
I'll move this over so you can see what I mean, all right? Because essentially, when you're dealing with footwear impressions, we have a gentleman on the OPP who's basically world-renowned. His name is John Norman. And essentially, with footwear impressions, you're in a situation where you're pretty much in the area of fingerprints, okay? And essentially, what we're talking about here is, especially when you start adding in other pieces of information that support an investigative position, okay? This is a photocopy of the boot that you took off your foot just a little while ago. Okay. Now, I'm not an expert in footwear impressions, so I rely on the experts. Footwear impressions are very much like fingerprint comparisons, okay? You take a look at this print, and again, this is one print. This person walked through, there's several different prints to compare, so we're going to get features off of one print to compare, features off another print to compare. These are identical.
Care sunt șansele să porți aceeași pereche de bocanci atunci când vii în secția de poliție? Aceeași pereche cu care ai fost încălțat atunci când ai făcut o infracțiune? Dacă atunci când a acceptat să-i se ia probe nu a chemat un avocat, acum ar fi bine ca Russel să cheme unul.
Your vehicle drove up the side of Jessica Lloyd's house. Your boots walked to the back of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. You want discretion. We need to have some honesty, okay? Because this is getting out of control really fast, Russell. Really, really fast. This is getting beyond my control, right? I came in here a few hours ago and I called you the way I called you today because I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you and I both know you were at Jessica Lloyd's house, and I need to know why.
I don't know what to say. That's
Well, you need to explain it, because this is the other problem we're having, Russell, okay? Again, these decisions are made by me. Right now, there's a search warrant being executed at your residence, and all. So your wife now knows what's going on. Your residence in Tweed, and your vehicle's been seized. You and I both know they're going to find evidence that links you to these situations. You and I both know that the unknown offender male on Marie France Comeau's body is going to be matched to you, quite possibly before the evening's over. This is a major investigation. The Center of Forensic Science is on call 24 hours a day helping us with this. Your opportunity to take some control here and to have some explanation that anybody is going to believe is quickly expiring. We're applying, the investigators now applying for a warrant to search your office. And Russell, listen to me for a second. When that evidence comes in, when that DNA match, when that phone rings and somebody knocks on this door, your credibility is gone. Because this is how credibility works, all right? And I know you're an intelligent person and you probably don't need to hear this explanation, but I also know your mind's racing right now, okay? Because I've sat across a lot of people in your position over the years. The bottom line is that as soon as we get that piece of evidence that solidifies it, DNA, as soon as the expert in footwear impressions, the expert in tire impressions, calls and says, yes, I've examined those and they're a match, it's all over. Because as soon as that happens, where's your credibility? Where's your believability? You're just another, and again, don't take this wrong, but you can see if you step outside this room in your mind and imagine how people are going to view you, if the truth comes out after the clear evidence is presented to you, when you finally go, I'm screwed now, what are we going to do?
Aici Russel este prins în șah. Îi pasă prea mult de cariera și imaginea lui ca să nu recunoască. Dacă recunoaște acum, nu s-ar face mare vâlvă în presă. Doar e duminică seara.
You know there's only one option. What other option is there?
What's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option. I might be wrong. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it, got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. This is over. And it can have a bad ending where Jessica's parents continue to wonder where her daughter's lying. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a huge search still underway, and it'll continue. It'll continue until her body's found. That might even happen tonight, for all I know. Once that happens, then I don't know what other cards you would have to play. What are we going to do?
În momentul acesta, polițistul îl acuză direct, iar Russel se întreabă dacă mai are vreo scăpare din asta. Este în faza de negare. În același timp, el se gândește și la ce găsesc polițiștii în casa lui în momentul de față.
Russell, what are we going to do?
Call me Russ, please.
Okay. What are we going to do, Russ? Is Jessica somewhere we can find her easily? Like, is this something where I can make a call and tell somebody to go to a location and they're going to find her, or is this something where we have to go and take a walk? So what am I doing, Russ? I put my best foot forward here for you, bud. I really have. I don't know what else to do to make you understand the impact of what's happening here. Did we talk?
I want to minimize the impact on my wife.
So do I.
So how do we do that?
Well, we start by telling the truth.
Okay.
După 4 ore, polițiștii reușesc să întoarcă situația în favoarea lor. Din momentul ăsta, prioritatea agentului este să o găsească pe Jessica. Un ultim lucru pe care polițistul trebuie să-l facă este să afle cum s-a petrecut totul.
Okay. So where is she?
You got a map?
Is she close to where she lives? I've got maps of that general area. Which town is she near? Why don't we start there?
I'm not sure if you give me a map of that covers Calabar down to the highway and over to Tweed and south, I'll show you.
Let me see what I got here. I might have something. Is she inside, outside? Probably the biggest area I have there, Russ.
Yeah, you need more. You need a real map.
So where am I going on here to get to her?
In this block here.
Okay. So you're pointing to.
A detailed map of that area, and I'll show you where she is.
Okay. Is she close to a road?
Yep.
All right. Is it something where is she buried, or is she somewhere where if you walk there you would fairly easily see her?
It's here.
Okay. So she's south of 7, east of Tweed,
Mhm.
west of 41.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this road here?
Not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want any water or anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back. How long has she been there for?
A little over a week.
Was it fairly quick from the time she left?
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yep.
So where was she between Thursday night and Friday night?
In Tweed.
With you?
Yep.
How long was she alive for?
Almost 24 hours, not quite.
Okay. Russ? You're doing the right thing here. Okay.
Well, again, my interest is in making my wife's life a little easier. And
Okay.
her family as well.
Well, we share that
But
interest.
there's no, your time in Ottawa is wasted, really. I'll tell you where the membership cards are.
Where are they?
They're in the house there, but
In Ottawa?
yeah.
Whereabouts?
Some in the camera bag, which they would have found in my office.
Mhm.
And when you walk into the office on the left side, there's a desk of drawers, set
Okay.
of drawers, like a filing cabinet, wooden, IKEA. In one of the top 2 drawers, and there's a plastic divider,
Yeah.
and there's inside there are 2 memory cards,
Okay.
which are blank, but I'm sure they can be
And whose images are on those cards?
well, I've erased them, but I expect you'll be able to draw images of Jessica and I.
What about Marie?
There there may be images on there as well.
And the 2 women from September?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have those images stored anywhere else?
Yep. There are 2 hard drives in the house in Ottawa. I can draw you a little picture if you like.
Sure. Do you want to do that now while I'm
Sure.
getting them out? Okay. Do you want anything to eat or anything? Leave that with you. Okay.
Sure. But I do want to talk to you again.
That's the plan. Okay. I'll be right back. Why don't we start with Jessica?
Okay.
How does that start for you?
I saw her in her house on her treadmill. Wednesday night, I guess. Then I noticed she wasn't there Thursday. So I got into the house to look around. Then, and then left. Noticed she'd come home. So I went back in. Through the back patio door while she was sleeping.
Okay.
So I woke her up. Didn't hit her. She only hit her once. Friday night.
Okay.
Well, so I raped her in her house, and then I took her to the car and took her to Tweed. And spent the day in Tweed. And then I hit her as we were walking. She thought we were leaving. Hit her on the back of the head.
Okay.
Anything particular?
Well, what did the hit on the back of the head do?
Well, I was surprised that her skull gave way. She was there and immediately unconscious. And I strangled her.
Okay. What did you hit her with?
Flashlight.
Okay. In the house or outside the house?
Who knows? Yeah, they'll find signs of that.
Where in the house did this happen?
In the main portion, just in front of the fireplace.
What do you mean they'll find signs of it?
Oh, there's quite a bit of blood. I'd expected to knock her out. But obviously generated a lot of blood.
What did she bleed onto?
The floor. It's just tile floor.
Okay. Did you clean it up, or did you?
I wiped it up. I know it'll be easily spotted.
What makes you think that? Like, if I walked in that house right now, would I see it?
You wouldn't see it, not at all. But you know, the right science will show it, I'm sure.
Okay. So when that happened, did she have clothes on, or was she naked?
Yeah, she was dressed.
Okay. So when we find her, is she going to have those clothes on too?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Marie France Como.
There was an open window in the basement of her house when she was away. I went in there a couple of nights before she came home. Looked around. I went back in there late at night when she was at home. She was on the phone in her bedroom. She actually discovered me in the basement. She was trying to get her cat to come upstairs, and the cat was in the basement, had seen me and was fixated on me in the corner. She couldn't get the cat up, so she came downstairs to try and get the cat, and weren't sure why she came over to me. I guess the cat was staring at me, and she was wondering what the cat was staring at. The lights were on. So when she spotted me, I had the same flashlight. I subdued her. Tied her up, brought her upstairs. And strangled her later in the morning. Well, more suffocated her. Some tape. Left her there.
How did you subdue her? And when you say subdued her in the basement, what did you do?
Well, I had the same flashlight, and you know, she saw me right away. So it was just I hit her a couple of times and around her head, try and knock her out. Didn't, but she was bleeding a little bit. And eventually, through a struggle, subdued her.
Okay. Any blood from that struggle?
Oh yeah. No, not a whole bunch, but a flashlight did break her skin a couple of times.
Okay. What area of the basement did that take place in?
I was hiding behind the furnace, so she spotted me right there.
Okay. Did she recognize you?
No, I had stuff on my face.
Okay. So then you go upstairs, and you said she suffocated?
Well, I suffocated her. I put tape on her. I put tape on her mouth. nose and held it there so she couldn't breathe.
Did you take anything out of Marie France's house or Jessica Lloyd's house?
Yeah, some of their underwear.
Okay.
That's all.
And where is that?
It's in some boxes in the basement here in Ottawa, in that rec room. So we just moved in, so there are boxes everywhere. So on the same side as the furnished room, sort of in the back against the wall.
Okay. What do the other boxes look like?
I think one's a scanner, the box for my scanner.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right next to each other, so a quick look through the boxes there will find it.
Okay. How much underwear is in those boxes?
Probably 60 pieces or so total.
All women's?
Yeah, 60 pieces of theirs.
Of whose?
Of Jessica's and Marie-France.
So you took 60 pieces from between the two of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a,
All right. And they're in a, like when you talk about a scanner, is it a computer scanner box?
my computer scanner is up in the office and its box is down in the basement, so
Okay.
it's inside that box.
Does any of the underwear in those boxes belong to anyone other than Marie France or Jessica?
Yeah, there's some from each of the other two women.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: did you like or dislike these women?
I didn't know any of them.
Okay.
I had met Marie-France that one time in our airplane.
Okay. No, I guess when you're going through these things, are you? Well, let's talk about Jessica because she was there with you for the whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of feelings were you experiencing while you were with her that day?
Oh, she was a very nice girl.
Can you tell me why you killed her? Right? Do you know why you killed her?
Well, I think I killed her because I knew that her story would be recognized.
Her story would be recognized? How do you mean?
Well, because she knew I was taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the two stories in Tweed.
Russel și-a fotografiat și filmat victimele înainte și după ce le-a omorât. În seara aceea, ușa interogatoriului s-a închis, Russel a fost dus în arest, iar polițiștii au găsit trupul Jessicăi. Acesta a recunoscut că dacă nu ar fi fost oprit, el nu s-ar fi oprit singur.
Russel Williams, 46 of Tweed, for first-degree murder. It was an excellent piece of police work on behalf of Jim Smith, who conducted this interview, one of the best interviews I've ever seen. And it's a smart man being outsmarted by a smarter man.
În 2010, Russel a fost condamnat pe viață pentru omor de gradul 1, agresiune sexuală, reținere forțată și intrare prin infracție. Acesta se află în prezent în închisarea din Port Cartier, Canada. Să nu cumva să dai like, comentariu sau mai ales subscribe, pentru că vei deveni dependent de genul ăsta de conținut.